Welcome back to Studio Chatter. One of the best fragrances in the home is the smell of fresh bread. And our first guest knows a lot about that. Welcome Martha and Abigail Levi from Abigail's Oven to our table.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So these ladies like to tease me about being the foodie of the group because I love food and anything about food usually sparks my interest. So I'll just tell you what happened to me. I've been, driving through Spanish Fork and I see these signs, Abigail's Oven. And curiosity kind of gets the best of me, so I wanted to know more. And I stopped in and I learned more. And now we would love for you to share kind of the story so everybody knows how Abigail's Oven came to be.
Okay, well, I'm Abigail, and I think my mom tells the story the best.
So maybe Martha needs to take over on that part.
Start.
Well, Abigail's my oldest, and she was very precocious, and she always loved to help and to do things. And so at age 8, I found out that they had gone to our neighbors, she and her little brothers, and they'd drawn these little pictures and sold them for 50 cents. Door to door. My neighbors told me this, and I was a little mortified, but also thought, oh, that's so cute. So I sat them down and said, if you're going to offer, if you want value from other people, you need to offer them something valuable, and these little pictures, although they're valuable to you, it may not be valuable to them. And Abigail perked up and said, I know what we could do, Mom. We could sell bread door to door. And I said, oh no, what have I done?
Did you bake bread at that time?
We did. So
okay.
we've always baked bread. I grew up with my mom baking bread. Okay. We never got bread at the store. But we were baking, the traditional Mormon yeast, wheat, pioneer grinding it ourselves, exactly. And I said, well, if you did that, I would have to make the bread. So when you're old enough to make the bread, then you can do that. Well, by the time she was 10, she was making the bread for the family. So she said, Mom, you told me I could. So
I have a lot of siblings. It just happened.
So she had their little red wagon, and they would make their bread and bag it and go down.
In my neighborhood.
They just had no fear. They would knock on doors, and pretty soon she had people saying, well, I want this bread once a week, and some people wanted it twice a month or once a month. And so Alan, my husband, was driving them all over Cedar City, Utah, that's where we lived at the time, delivering this bread, and Abigail had it all sorted out on an Excel document, and everyone's numbers, and she would call them and remind them. And she loved Excel, she loved sorting things, and she would just not be afraid to call and talk to adults. And so then we moved to Virginia and did some different things, but every once in a while, if they needed money, they would bake bread and go out and sell it. And then we moved to Provo, and my husband had this great job, but they wanted him to commit to 5 years and just do research in a cubicle, and he was withering away, and he came home and he said, we're going to make Abigail's Oven our family business and do it full time. And by the time he convinced me, I'm like, okay, we can do this. And I said, should we change the name? And Abigail said, no, you can't change the name. This is my business.
She's going to take over now.
What is Abigail's version of that? Remember that she said that. You can't change the name.
I like to tell everyone that. I have no memory of saying that.
But I can see why. It kind of started there.
Yeah. So then we got into making sourdough bread.
Yes. How did you transition from
So we had
that?
a really good friend who knew a lot about nutrition, and she said, you should try sourdough. And I was thinking, sourdough for the gourmet, because everybody loves sourdough because it tastes so yummy. And we started making it. It was kind of like this brick, but to us it tasted great. We're like, oh, this is so good. And then we ran into a really good friend who actually had built a bakery in his basement for his kids to have to do these projects.
Wow, my goodness.
I know.
Ambitious.
We are these neighbors.
He had this book called The Tartine Bread, and it's written by a man who has a bakery in San Francisco. And he said, I want to teach everyone to make this bread in their own home in using a Dutch oven. And so we read the book and we made the bread, and we were blown away. We're like, this bread is incredible. And it just tasted good. And then we started learning about the health benefits of it. And like, how many times do you find something that tastes amazing and is good for you? Usually people think of healthy food as gross, and junk food is yummy. But this...
so what are the health benefits then?
Okay, let's talk about it.
That sparks my interest.
Yeah.
So the health benefits are the fact that you are using 3 ingredients to make this bread, and that's it. It's flour, water, and salt. And there's no commercial yeast, there's no oil, there's no sugar at all. And what you're relying on to leaven it is the wild yeast and the wild bacteria that's just in the air that gets into this mixture that you make, which is the sourdough start, or it's called natural leaven or the mother or whatever you want to call it. And they combine together and they eat the flour and the water, and as you feed them every day, you feed your start flour and water, that you're basically creating a condo for this bacteria, and the bacteria consumes the gluten and the starches, breaks it down, and makes it really digestible. So you eat a slice of sourdough bread, and they say for 4 hours after that, anything that you eat, it will lower the glycemic index of what you eat, because this bacteria produces lactic acid and acetic acid, gets down in your gut, it breaks everything down, and so diabetics can eat it because it doesn't spike your blood sugar. We have a lot of customers that say, I haven't been able to eat bread in years, and I can eat your bread, and I have no problems. We have people that are celiac, gluten intolerant,
Really?
wheat allergies, all of those
Even
people.
though it has flour.
Even though it has
Because
flour.
it's broken down, the gluten is broken down and processed almost by the bacteria so that it's digestible. So.
Well, and if you want to learn more about the whole health benefits of this, about the classes, there's classes that you offer,
Yes,
correct?
yeah, we teach classes. So if you go to our website, abigail's11.com, there's a list, and we're just getting ready to
Facebook.
post
Okay.
our fall classes. And yeah, so we teach them for free. So just come, and we'll
You
give
get
you
a free
start.
start and a
Show
recipe.
you how to make it.
Abigail, tell us where you're located.
Where we're located, we're in Spanish Fork, right behind the fairgrounds in the old Bishop Storehouse building. It's 421 South, 200 East.
And you'll see
Spanish
their
Fork.
little sign going up Canyon Road, kind of
Yeah.
right by Sippin. That's how I first started seeing
Yeah.
it, because I'm a Diet
You're an
Coke
addict,
junkie.
yeah.
Yes. So now I'll become a bread junkie along with my Diet Coke. But we did stop by. We got the promo code that you guys are offering.
Yeah.
And I think it's if you text 31313 and text fresh to that number, then you're offering a half a loaf of
Yeah,
the
cents a
sourdough,
loaf.
a free
Half
sample. And so we went and did that, and I got the cinnamon swirl bread. You guys cut that in half, toast it up with some butter.
Oh, really?
Jalapeno too.
Delicious.
There's rye bread. There was a whole chalkboard list of
Okay.
variety of bread. So you're not just
Yes.
it's not just traditional.
So what are your
sourdough.
hours?
So our hours, we are open Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay.
And what are the hours for the
So
store?
Tuesday and Friday, it is 8 to 7, and Saturday, it's 10 to 4.
Okay.
And it's
Yum.
totally worth stopping in there. And I mean, I think the time that I spent in your lobby area, I learned some of these things and got
Yeah, and
educated.
he educated.
And I'm like,
Who was
yes.
the gentleman that was
Oh,
there on
Simon
Saturday?
Hansen.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was super knowledgeable and shared a bunch
Well,
with us.
and one thing that he also made me aware of that I didn't know, just because of the new science and maybe the things that have gone on with marketing, I thought it was, fairly new, that maybe this was a new business in the last year or so. But then, as you've told us and as I learned, he said, no, we've been doing this for 4 years. You deliver from Logan to
St. George.
St. George.
And then he said you just got accepted to Sundance to sell it
Yeah.
Yeah,
there
we
too,
saw
which is so
Sundance.
neat.
Yes,
Yeah.
serving at the
Huge
Fountain Grill. That's
accomplishment.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you must be baking on location or at Abigail's
Yes,
all week, but you're only open to the public
Right,
those
our
3
store
days.
hours are only the 3 days. But we
Okay.
make
In individual Dutch ovens. So how
Yes.
many individual Dutch
We
ovens
have
are
about
there?
150.
Oh my
Holy
goodness.
cow, can you believe that?
We need to come
Unreal.
take a tour of
Yes.
like the
Yeah,
oven
sure.
area.
Yes,
Okay,
everybody should
that
get a
would be
tour,
fun.
get
Well,
your
if you
halo,
walk by
get
during our
educated.
baking days, you can hear the clinking as
Yeah,
they're
you
taking the
can
lids
hear-
off and pulling and pushing the pans up. So.
And Abigail, are you
Process.
working there?
I am not. I've been at college, so
Okay.
I don't work. I haven't worked at the bakery in a while, but
Okay.
well, I guess a month and a half.
Oh, I'm thinking
That's
years.
just collecting royalties right there. That's right. Yeah, good for you. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Coming up next on Studio Chatter, who takes care of the caregiver? Stay with us for that conversation.